Hey y'all, it's your girl Carolina Teague, and this is episode 4 of League of Her Own. Welcome back. It is August 17th, 2022. I'm at VodPod Media Studios with my guy, radio husband, and producer, Guylan Jackson, making sure everything is running smoother than olive oil on a baby's behind. How are you doing today, Guylan?
What up?
Well, that sounds good. I mean, you ready to get this week started?
Yo, let's roll. This is Wednesday. The week's been started.
Yeah.
They just waiting for us.
You think so?
Yes.
You think so? Well,
they watching.
We have a lot to get into today. Today we're going to be talking about Ashanti and Irv Gotti, why I'm interested in the Murder Inc. documentary, LeBron just... Breaking news, by the way, too. LeBron just signed a new contract. What I think about that. The NBA schedule just came out. What matchups I'm looking forward to the most. We're going to be talking about Adrien Broner dropping out of his fight. We're going to be talking about NFL winners, where I think the Chicago Bears rookies, Kenny Pickett, and Tyler Johnson are my picks for the NFL winners. NFL losers, Soldier Field, Chicago Bears. You guys are not doing a great job. Cowboys penalties. They got 17 penalties. And Kenny Galladay. Also, the You Go Glen Coco Award. We're introducing a new segment. I'm giving it to the Las Vegas Aces and Becky Hammond. And the Tatis suspension, of course. And then, of course, we're going to be talking about this and that. Let's have some fun today, guys. Let's roll. So, first of all, this weekend was pretty interesting. Last week, we had some interesting takes on DeJounte Murray. Guylan, he ended up going viral. They did a whole video on it. And, you know, we had pretty negative feedback on everything that happened. But I think we take everything in stride, don't we, Guylan? I don't think it's like a big, huge deal.
No, it's not a huge deal at all. You know, everybody's going to have their opinions on stuff. I had a fun, goofy opinion. And that's what it was. Like, end of story, end of day. It was a fun, goofy opinion.
And you don't take anything personal.
And just for everybody out there, it's not a 6X, it's a 4X. So just to let everybody know.
But I don't think you should take it personal because nobody knows you personally, right? And at the end of the day, you know, it was my fault because the way that I edited it was kind of messed up. I was like, you know, I had worded it that DeJounte Murray has a word for the haters, but really I should have said DeJounte Murray has a word for people who are harassing him, or Guylan has a word for people who are harassing DeJounte Murray. And I think that would have probably, you know, relieved some of the backlash that you were receiving. But I got some backlash too for it, so it's all good. It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Not today. In the near future, because
we got to.
Yeah,
it's an important conversation to have.
Exactly, especially for women in sports talk radio. But it's not the time to have that conversation yet. I don't think. Not today. Not anytime soon, because we got so much to get into today. Stuff that's way more entertaining than us getting dragged just a little bit. Yeah. So what we got? What we jumping into?
So okay, first of all, one of the things that I've been interested lately is in the Murder Inc. documentary. So when I grew up, it was around like the 2000s. That was my elementary, middle school, teenage years. And I was obsessed with Murder Inc. I love rap music. I love hip hop culture. And Murder Inc. and the Cumbia Kings, they had me in a chokehold. So if it wasn't the Cumbia Kings and it wasn't Murder Inc., you know, I wanted to hear it all the time. I love listening to Baby Bash and all that stuff. And, you know, all the love songs, boys would burn CDs and they would put the Murder Inc. song on the CDs. And the guy, I don't know, remember back in the day, guys would burn CDs for you and make you feel like these songs were dedicated to you. So Murder Inc. was a large part of my childhood. And little did I know, Irv Gotti, the CEO of Murder Inc., was sleeping with their R&B star Ashanti. Have you ever heard of Ashanti?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But have you ever heard of Ashanti?
Of course.
Okay,
yes.
So yeah, she's Grammy nominated, just incredible artist. And she's made some of my the greatest records I've heard, like love songs that make me want to cry about the past, or love songs that made me cry about my ex-boyfriends back in the day. She had Foolish. She had the Unfoolish remix. She had Baby. And then there was a song that she had called Happy. I don't know if you ever heard that song, but it was like, boy, you fill me with so much joy. You remember that one?
No.
No? Okay. All right.
No. I remember it.
Okay. So she had a song called Happy. It was a hit song that Murder Inc. made. And Irv Gotti was on a podcast called The Drink Champs, and he revealed
that the way that Happy was recorded was because he had just finished sleeping with Ashanti. They had just finished having relations with each other. He was married at the time, but he was separated from his wife, and he was in the shower humming the tune, and Ashanti came up with that hit song. And everybody was dragging Irv Gotti because he was being a chatty patty. He was telling his business about, him sleeping with Ashanti damn near 20 years ago. He was talking about how he was hurt that she started dating Nelly behind his back, even though he was married at the time. So I want to ask you, Guylan, do you think that it's kind of whack for somebody to come out 20 years later when you're about to have your Murder Inc. documentary air on BET? That Ashanti didn't want to be a part of, by the way, because she obviously has issues with Irv. Irv Gotti does not want to release her masters to her. And I feel like there's a control factor there because he got his feelings hurt and he got his heart broken by her. Do you think that Irv Gotti, first of all, by not releasing her masters to her, and is it a control thing?
Who's bigger? Who's bigger, Irv Gotti or Ashanti?
What do you mean, as far as like an artist is concerned?
Yeah, I would know Ashanti before I would know Irv Gotti.
Yeah, I mean, me too.
Okay.
Me too, yeah.
So he's a loser trying to gin up more stuff off of her name. End of story.
And you know what? You really don't know much about this, Guylan, because we were talking about this beforehand. You really don't know the situation. But on the Drink Champs podcast, I watched the whole entire thing. He brought up Ashanti at least 4 times.
Of course, because it's clickbait. Yeah. It's not. Anyway. Listen, you're gonna get me in trouble again.
No, I'm not. Say how you feel.
I just think that the whole thing's a waste of time, and I don't care who slept with who. Play the music. The end.
Here's what I think. I think that for a man to detail sexual relations with somebody who's famous is because she's still relevant. People still care about her. And of course, he knows that saying her name and revealing private stuff about her that she doesn't want to be revealed will be talked about. And it's in an attempt, a pathetic attempt to generate interest in his Murder Inc. documentary. Maybe it wasn't a pathetic attempt because yesterday.
Oh, it's pathetic. It's pathetic.
I mean, he kind of got my attention because, inadvertently, because
sucker.
I know I'm a sucker for marketing tactics because I made enchiladas yesterday for my family, and I was making rice and beans, enchiladas, the whole 9. Just cooked it for my family, made a good meal, and then I was like, well, let me put it on the documentary for Murder Inc. because it's premiering tonight, and I saw the documentary, and Irv Gotti, Ja Rule, they detailed about how they made those hit. They kept, what bothered me about that documentary, Guylan? They kept saying the word record. They kept saying, we made a hit record. We made a hit record. They said that
that's because they're from up north.
Yeah, but how many times can you say record? Like, I was literally counting every single time he said record. And Ja Rule said record. And they said record. Like, they said record like 20,000 times. And they just kept saying, we had a hit record. We knew we had a record.
Because it was still vinyl. Back in the day, it was vinyl. So you could put it down, spin it, and stuff like that. Today, you throw it on the thumb drive.
And it's a single now. They're called
singles.
Get off
my
now.
yard.
They're called singles now. They're not. Haven't heard nobody call it a record in a long time. But they kept saying the word record, and it brought me back to my childhood days. I had no clue that Ashanti's songs were allegedly all about Irv Gotti. All her heartbreak songs. All her happy songs, they were about Irv Gotti. I had no clue.
No.
That's what he said.
That's what Irv Gotti said.
That's why I said allegedly. We don't know that.
So why are you? No, you didn't say allegedly.
I did say. No. I just said it. I just resaid it.
Now you did after I checked you.
Okay, that's fine that you checked me. Now I'm checked. Now what? I said it again.
But that's the whole thing. Like, we start saying these things as truth. That's not truth. You got a dude try to gin up some stuff and on a woman. So,
well, no, we need to hear Ashanti's side for sure.
She already said this. She's not going to agree. No.
And that's the part that's hard is because we can't hear her side. And that's the part that really irritates me about this whole Murder Inc. documentary is that Ashanti's not even here. And every time he brings her up, it seems like he's still salty towards her. So he's definitely heartbroken about all that stuff. So I don't know what you would say about that. I mean, it's been a long time. So I don't know. We got breaking news, though, that I did want to talk about. It was revealed by Adrien Wojnarowski of ESPN that LeBron James has agreed to a 2-year NBA contract extension with the Los Angeles Lakers worth
$97.1 million. And that was confirmed, like I said, by ESPN Adrien Wojnarowski. Now, this deal, according to ESPN and The Athletic, includes a player option for the 2024-2025 season in which LeBron James could see his 17-year-old son, Bronny, become an NBA rookie. This contract could be worth $111 million US dollars to the superstar if the NBA salary cap makes a major jump for the 23-24 campaign. Now, this also gives LeBron James a career guaranteed total earnings number of $532 million. And he's allegedly a billionaire, too. And so, you know, he's got a record earnings career, and he's unmatched with the likes of Kevin Durant. And then you have billionaires like Michael Jordan. This is a big deal for LeBron James. And he even said in the past that he wants to play the 2024-25 season because he wants a chance to play with Bronny. And Bronny right now is a top high school prospect in Los Angeles. And Skip Bayless took shots at Bronny for having a great highlight recently. So, you know, he's already going to be a major splash, and they want to play together, Bronny and LeBron James. He said he'll go wherever he wants to go. I think this is a great move for LeBron. This gives him the option to go wherever he feels like going, and that includes a team where Bronny's at. I think having a father-dad duo is unheard of. And
in the NBA,
in the NBA, and this is like some groundbreaking type stuff if he's able to pull it off. So I want to see where we go with this LeBron-Bronny thing. I really hope that LeBron makes it happen, and I think he'll be willing to take any type of dollar amount just to play with his son.
Well, the tickets alone, it's going to be crazy. To go see LeBron James, to go see his son play, it's going to be amazing. Just because we may never see it again in a lifetime. So when you're talking about arguably one of the top 5-10 players, depending on how much you want to hate LeBron James or not hate LeBron James, where he is in the league. So seeing him playing with his son is going to be pretty special.
Yeah, I think it's going to be special, too. And Veronica Mars, who's watching our live streams, she said that the Griffeys did it in baseball. I mean, they did it in baseball. This is rare yet huge, right? When these things happen, these are kind of like needle in the haystack type of opportunities that really make me interested in all those things. So I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see if he ends up playing with Bronny before he retires. And a part of me feels like he'll do it by any means necessary. So I'm excited to see what happens.
Well, he stated this years ago that he wants to play with his son. Yeah. So there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. He's going to do it outside of a major injury.
Exactly. And I feel like he's manifesting that too. It sounds like this is all being manifested. And, you know, it's not just, you know, I want to play with my son and your son is trash. You know, Bronny is a top prospect in high school. He put in the work to get there. So this is all just that manifestation coming full circle. And
well, I got to push back a little bit. Bronny's good, but he's not great.
You don't think Bronny is great? I mean, no. Well, you don't have to be great to be a top high school prospect. You don't have to be the number one.
But to play in the NBA, you have to be great.
You do. But, you know, I've interviewed NFL players and NBA players. I've interviewed some rookies. And behind the scenes, a lot of them like to tell me that, you know, even if you're more talented than somebody else on the rookie team, you can still be passed up because of a name behind that other person. You can be passed because it's very, whether or not we see the talent part, which I'm sure the talent has a lot to do with it, a lot of people really don't consider that part where you also have that politics involved, where the politics say, hey, look, he might not be the top prospect in your eyes, Guylan, or just in general, but because he has LeBron's name behind him and that's his dad, he has more leverage than somebody who's probably equal talent towards him because of that name. And that's something that a lot of people really don't talk about when they talk about the NBA and the NFL. But those are things that actually happen because at the end of the day, this is a corporation, this is a business, and those politics do get involved, whether we see it or not.
True, but if he sucks...
I don't think he sucks. You think he sucks?
No. I'm just saying, like, if he falls off, if there's a lot of better people out there, if you can only make it in the G League. But you're thinking... But see, this is going to be the tough part because you already said it's politics and it's names, right? So the question becomes...
It can be. Not
right. So the question becomes, is his legacy going to be based on getting in the NBA because of his last name of James? Or does he truly have the skill set? So I think we have to be very careful not to say, well, it's politics, it's a last name.
Well, no,
because
I'm
now
not saying that's
we're taking away from him as a player.
Well, no, I'm not saying that that's it. I'm just saying that even if we say, like what you said, he's not that great, I still think that gives him leverage. Now, that's going to be utilized against him, and people who are going to be Bronny haters are going to say it's because of his dad. He got to play in the NBA, but like Veronica Mars said, time is going to tell. Your talent is going to have to show eventually. So whether you have that first initial push from that name, it's going to take his talent and take everything in that nature to push him to that next level. So that's where I'm at with the LeBron James duo. So I feel like, it's been a really interesting day today too, because the NBA schedule just came out. And there was a lot of interesting matchups that I was looking forward to. The San Antonio Spurs said they're going to play at the Alamo Dome, which is an interesting topic on its own. They're going to be playing the Golden State Warriors, the current NBA champions, on January 13th in 2023. So if you guys, the San Antonio Spurs PR team put out a tweet that they want everybody to pack the Alamo Dome, and they want it to be over 63, somewhere around the 63,000 range of people that attend that particular game. Now, I think if they want a chance of that, they're going to have to make the seats hella cheap. Like, give $5 tickets.
Well, and they're going to have to be. Your nosebleed seats can't be more than $10, $15.
Yeah, heck no.
Right. And for all these, you're ready to clip this? To all these Spurs fans that are holding on to the past, like the Dallas Cowboy fans, and I am a huge Spurs fan, we got to be careful, because that may be all excitement for the next 5 or 10 years. He's going to the Alamo Dome to watch the Spurs win and keep on breaking capacity, right? So capacity at Alamo Dome is somewhere around 65,000. I think we hold the record or somewhere close to that. So we need over like 63,000 or 64,000 to break the previous record from the game before.
Yeah, and it would be nice to see that. I want to see if it's free to get into. Do you think that they might have free tickets?
No.
None
This
at
is
all.
a business.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I thought about it. I was like, man, if they want to really beat that record, then they'd give out some free tickets. But I think $5 at the minimum.
It's probably going to be 10, 15 with inflation and everything else.
Yeah, and by the time you pay the StubHub fees and everything like that, oh yeah, inflation too. By the time you pay the StubHub fees, it's going to be a pain in the ass. So just make them $5 and let fees and ticket upcharges and inflation take its course with that.
So you know how I was talking about like living in the past with the Spurs fans, living in the past with the Spurs fans?
Yeah, why do you say living in the past? Do you think a lot of Spurs fans live in the past?
Oh yeah, we haven't done anything in a while. The Spurs have done nothing. You're not baiting me into saying anything. But so it's very interesting. Like, we have this next year, and I hope our Spurs are good. I really hope the Spurs are good.
Right.
But we got Origins Night coming out Monday, November 7th. 1999 Championship Night, December the 2nd. 2003 Championship Night, December the 12th, Monday. 2005 Championship Night, Wednesday, February 4th, and 2007 Championship Night, Thursday, March the 2nd. Now, what's very interesting about this is on each of those we're talking to, or my words are escaping me, celebrating people of the past. George Gervin, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and Tony Parker. We got a problem, fans. We got a problem. And unless you all want to open your eyes and see it, it's going to be a long haul.
Yeah, I agree. And it's going to be a long season, but these are fun games to look forward to. We're looking forward to the Alamo Dome game. We're looking forward to the Mexico City game against the Heat. We're looking forward to the games in Austin. I want to see how these games are going to end up turning out. And, I think the Alamo Dome is not up to the current standards, but it's going to be nostalgic. And if San Antonio shows up and shows out, then that could be a sign that, the Spurs are here to stay for a really long time if they're able to pack that dome like they want to.
Yeah, I don't think the Spurs are going anywhere. I don't think they're going anywhere. including Austin, right? So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. And also, too, like, not only that game, but there's also the game against the Spurs and the Hawks when they come back into town. They're going to be coming back into town in February, or they're going to be coming back into town in March. And they're also going to be going to see them on an away game during the rodeo road trip. So that DeJounte Murray Spurs, matchup is going to be pretty interesting because he made those comments about the Spurs not being great for the next 15 years. And another matchup that I'm excited to see out of this NBA schedule is the Orlando Magic versus Atlanta Hawks. I think the NBA did this matchup on purpose. This is the season opener. It's going to be October 21st. It's going to be their season opener. And I think this is a whole marketing thing. I mean, we just saw the beef between Paolo Banchero, the number 1 pick, and DeJounte Murray. Both of these players are from Seattle. And both of these players had some heated words for each other. And they had some exchanges on the court. And it was really entertaining for the NBA in the offseason to watch this all go down. Everybody seemed to have a comment about it. Everybody seemed to have their 2 cents, whether you were, Team Paolo or Team DeJounte. This makes an interesting matchup for the NBA schedule, and I'm excited to see who's going to come out on top. And I'm also going to see if Paolo Banchero is double teamed like he said he was in the Pro AM game. And I want to see how that goes down. So I'm really excited about that Orlando Magic versus the Atlanta Hawks game. That's one of the ones where I'm like, okay, I have to watch that. I have to tune in. If it's on NBA League Pass, I'm going to be watching that one. Another one that I'm interested in too, rookie matchup, Orlando Magic versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. You have Chet Holmgren and Paolo Banchero once again. I mean, this is going to be great. I mean, I think they both will put on a show. These are the top 2 picks in the NBA game, and both of these players opted to sit out in Vegas this season for the summer league. So I think this matchup will give everybody a first look at exactly what's going to happen with the NBA for these 2 top rookies. And I'm excited to see how they both fare against each other. Both of them are from Minnesota, and it's going to be on national TV. So this storyline is going to be interesting to follow too. You always want to see the top 2 picks of the NBA rookies go at it. So that's going to be fun. Now I got one more that I'm excited about. The final matchup that I'm interested in seeing for the NBA. Now that the schedule is out, if you guys are watching, this is League of Our Own. Jabari Smith versus the Orlando Magic. That's going to be interesting because, I mean, everybody thought Jabari Smith would be the number 1 pick. He was an Auburn standout, and he was passed up by the Orlando Magic and the Oklahoma City Thunder. So this is kind of like a revenge game in a way. The Houston Rockets versus the Orlando Magic. I'm really excited to see what the Orlando Magic is going to do and all these rookies are going to do. So those are the matchups that I'm most excited to see. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun NBA season, definitely. And I might go to the Alamo Dome to watch that game.
Yeah, the Alamo Dome will be fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I'll be there to support packing the dome, and I just hope the rest of the San Antonio decides to come out too.
Last NBA game that I was at was a Memorial Day Miracle Massacre. Miracle. The massacre. That was the last one that I was at the Alamo Dome. Right. I mean, I've done some other things there as far as like Final Four, but that was the last one I did, and that was an amazing game.
Well, if you had to be at one game at the Alamo Dome, wouldn't you want to be at the Memorial Day Miracle game?
Oh, of course.
I feel like you're like one of the lucky people. I was
very lucky.
So what did you think? Like, were you excited? What was your reaction when Sean Elliott hit that shot?
Drunk.
Oh, so do you not remember that?
Oh, I remember it. I had a beautiful date. I remember exactly who I was out with. I remember exactly what happened. I remember high-fiving everybody. I remember walking away with the worst headache ever because everybody was just yelling at the top of their lungs. I'll never forget that day. One of the greatest sports moments ever that I was able to attend.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Do you remember how the crowd's reaction was?
It was, I remember when Marshawn Lynch was playing. I can't remember who he was playing, but he was with Seattle, and it registered an earthquake, like a 3.2 earthquake or something like that. I promise you,
wow,
this was just as great.
Wow.
Because this is when the entire dome was open for the Spurs. If I'm not mistaken, it was the entire dome. I'm drawing a blank there.
I'm sure it was.
But
I'm sure the crowd was wild.
I mean, the crowd was outrageous. It was amazing. It was an amazing time.
Well, you're a lucky duck because you got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty lucky if I say. Anthony Gonzalez said the game he's looking forward to is Golden State versus the Grizzlies for the Christmas game. The Grizzlies won the Southwest Division last year for the NBA, and I'm excited to see what the Grizzlies do too. John Morant is one of my favorite players in the NBA at the moment. So
he is a baller.
He is a baller. So yeah, Golden State versus John Morant. I mean, not John Morant himself. You see how much I love John Morant? I ain't even mentioning the damn team name. So Adrien Broner. It looks like, okay, I don't know if you guys know who Adrien Broner is. He's a boxer, and he recently pulled out of his fight against Omar Figueroa Jr. You guys saw my content earlier this week. Omar Figueroa Jr., he was prepping for his fight against Adrien Broner this Saturday in Florida. At Davies Boxing Gym, prepping for the fight, Adrien Broner decided to drop out because of mental health issues. This fight was supposed to happen this Saturday, but on Monday, he decided to drop out. He posted on Instagram, "Man, I'm going through a lot in this moment in my life, but I ain't gonna give up. I set more goals and I ain't stopping until I finish. But I started. But sorry to say this, I'm not fighting August 20th." This was his message. Sorry to all my fans, but mental health is real, and I'm not about to play inside the ring. I watched a lot of people die playing with their boxing career that just crazy. I wasn't scared of boxing too much to not give my all, and I feel like I still need to shoot before because my mind wasn't 100% clear. And I'll be damned if I make mistakes again. And he goes somewhere and says, mental health is very, very serious. And one of the people who has probably the most famous boxer in recent memory who has dropped out of a major fight due to mental health is Ryan Garcia, who recently fought here at the Ryan Garcia, now people can either say he's a boxer, they can say he's a YouTube star. People can say, is it over for Adrien Broner? Anthony Gonzalez says, yes, it is. He says for him to hang it up. And that's been the sentiment for everybody, for him to just hang it up because either he's losing or he's dropping out due to mental issues. Ryan Garcia, however, is giving him grace. Gervonta Davis, one of the top boxers in the boxing world, my personal favorite boxer at the moment, he said, boxers got to stop using the mental health excuse to get out of stuff. Yo ass just a bitch. That's what Gervonta Davis said. That's what he said. He said, yo ass is just a bitch. And this is crazy because Adrien Broner has shown support to Gervonta Davis a multitude of times. He's had a so, the B word, that's fighting words right there. Saying you just a bitch is pretty messed up. But Ryan Garcia said, I love you, AB. I love you, AB, as an Adrien Broner. I know it's not easy to take a step back and take time from the ring. No doubt, taking this time will make you come back healthier and stronger. Focus on your mental health. It's not weakness, it's strength. You got my support. # mental health awareness. And then him and Gervonta just started going back and forth. Ryan Garcia has been trying to fight Gervonta Davis for a while, so of course he's going to capitalize on that moment. But, I mean, he also can relate to Adrien Broner as well. This whole mental health thing, it's tricky to some people. I'm not going to say it's okay, but I can see why Gervonta Davis is saying that, because he drops out of a fight a couple of days before he's actually supposed to fight. And I feel like in the boxing world, before you sign a contract, before you go into this situation, before you go into this scenario, some people have 3 months to prep, some people have 6, some people have 3 weeks to prep. But before you go into the scenario, I feel like in a lot of boxers' mind is, why don't you consider that before you sign the contract, before everybody starts promoting it heavily? However, I am a firm believer that personally, mental health is always swept under the rug, especially in our culture. I mean, boxing is primarily black and brown,
And in our culture, mental health is always put on the back burner. Nobody ever wants to get help. Nobody ever wants to get therapy. And these boxers are taking a big step by dropping out, being man enough to say, hey, look, my mind isn't 100% there. I can't give it my all. I am not ready for this fight. I'm not going to go into the ring until I'm 100%. What do you think, Gylan, about this too? Because this is really tricky. I feel like it's brave for him to come out and say that he has mental health issues and he wants to address them, especially since boxers have CTE. So I'm not mad at Adrien Broner for dropping out. I'm actually proud of him, and I hope he comes back into the ring when he feels like he's 100%. But Gervonta Davis saying, like, you just a bitch, I feel like it's kind of, that's really rude and unnecessary.
Well, yeah, people going to do what people going to do, and people going to say what people are going to say. And I think the healthiest way to handle anything, especially if you feel that you're having mental health issues, is plain and simple, go and seek therapy, right? We're no longer at a place in society where men should not be seeking help for their mental stability. And so, you know, whatever homeboy said, he said it. Whatever. This guy's got to take care of himself. Now, one thing I did see is that Adrien Broner lost. I want to say he's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. He's only fought 3 times or 4 times in the past 4 years. So I think that's huge, right? So there is something else going on there. But you know, it's time to move, or what do they say, shit or get off the pot.
And that's what Andy Torres is essentially saying too. He said he's been out the game for a bit. How much mental health time do you need? So I mean, it's like, do you still want to be a boxer? Because you're losing all the time, and is this really for you? So it's really, you know, interesting to see. But anyways, rolling into our NFL winners, we got some NFL winners.
Draft class.
Yeah, definitely draft class.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay, but wait, because we gotta let the people listen.
In my dog life, in the dog life, all day life.
That's nice.
And so your first winner of the draft class is the Chicago Bears, right?
This is going to be the Bears rookie. It's actually the NFL winners of the preseason game. And so I feel like the Bears winners of the preseason game are actually, this is actually a really nice lineup. I like all these stuff. You know, one of the person that really, out of all these, I'm going to tell you who really stands out to me. Jaquan Brisker. That's the main person that I feel like really stood out as a rookie this particular preseason game, because right now we already know that the Chicago Bears are having issues with Roquan Smith and his contract situation, and seeing what he's going to do as far as playmaking is concerned. So they moved up Jaquan Brisker to linebacker for this past game, and he was physical. He was tough. The Bears ended up winning their preseason game against the Chiefs, and you know, the Chicago Bears are basically saying, hey, his confidence is growing. He's played really well, and I think with this 19-14 victory over Kansas City, I feel like Jaquan Brisker is that guy who the Bears might have as backup in case this Roquan Smith situation doesn't pan out the way it's supposed to because of his issues that he has right now currently. So I say that's where the real hype is right now for Chicago. The rookies played an incredible job. I think the defense did a fantastic job holding the Chiefs' offensive line. They consistently got 3 and outs throughout the game, and Brisker totaled 4 tackles, and he had 1 tackle for loss, and he also had a pass breakup. So if I had to say out of all these people I was really proud of, it would have to be Jaquan Brisker of the Chicago Bears. Now, the other person that I was really proud of and I think was an NFL winner for the first preseason week of the game was Kenny Pickett, Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett. I mean, he's playing up against Mitchell Trubisky. He's playing against Mason Rudolph. I don't remember Mason Rudolph, the guy who got hit with the helmet. Then you got Mitchell Trubisky, who, I mean, people criticize him tremendously, and he's supposed to be QB1. But, I mean, Pickett's performance was really good. He basically, as soon as he got on the field in the second half, he threw his first drive, ended up in a touchdown, and the final drive of the game ended up having them win the game. So if I had to pick
somebody that I feel like did a fantastic job, it would definitely be Kenny Pickett. He's definitely one of my winners. And it wouldn't surprise me, you know, after going 13 completions on 15 pass attempts for 95 yards, and also 3 carries for 16 yards on the ground, and a big third down conversion too, late in the game. It would not surprise me if Mitchell Trubisky and Kenny Pickett were fighting with each other for QB1 and QB2. So I definitely think that that was definitely a winner in my book. Lonnie Longoria says another big winner was Jack Sanborn. I mean, there were so many winners of the NFL preseason week 1. And my final winner right now is, I'm going to give it to, if I had to make one more person, it'd be Tyler Johnson. And the reason why I'd say Tyler Johnson is because, I mean, he had 6 receptions for 73 yards. He had 2 huge plays in the first quarter of the game. And his first pass the first play he had was an underneath route. He made several defenders miss after the catch. And then he had a leaping grab too. I mean, this person just really stands out. And even at training camp, he had some pretty huge plays. And I think he's done an incredible job. So I'm going to give my standout person for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for preseason week 1. I'm giving it to Tyler Johnson. So those are my 3 winners of the NFL preseason games.
So those were the winners. What about our losers?
Oh, yeah, we got some losers, too. I totally forgot about our losers.
Taking the L. Even though I put losers on the graphic, right, it's more like taking the L, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I mean, well, they're going to say who took an L. We're not going to say they're losers because you think that's too mean? You think it's calling somebody a loser is too mean?
I don't know. They were losers.
Like if you sucked at life, Guylan, or if anybody who's watching this, y'all sucked at life, do y'all think it's okay to call other people losers? Like, you're a loser. You suck at life.
Well,
you think that's a little harsh?
I think there's levels to this, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think we got to take a step back. And when we use the word losers, they're taking the L, right?
Yeah,
it's not like
taking the L sounds nicer. It sounds more politically correct. Taking the L. Like, I mean, we all take L's in life.
Well, you got to be careful because we're talking about losers. These Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, well, my first loser here is Soldier Field. Soldier Field really pissed me off recently because, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the first preseason game. It looked like my tia's backyard at the ranch. Like, that's what it looked like. There was, like, streaks all over the ground. It looked visibly horrible. You could see it from the field. I mean, look, if you guys can see that field right there, that's the actual picture. Guylan put up the actual picture of the actual field. Doesn't that look like the backyard of somebody's ranch? Seriously. I mean, I thought it looked terrible to me. I just thought it looked garbage. And, you know, this just shows how the McCaskies and Mayor Lightfoot, actually, the Chicago Bears, Chicago Parks and Recreations is responsible for keeping up with it. So this isn't a McCaskey problem. This is a Chicago problem. And Mayor Lightfoot of Chicago said she was going to put a cover over Soldier Field to help with these field conditions.
Well, hold up. Did she say she was going to? Because she just can't do that.
Well, she was that's in her plan. She proposed
Right.
that. Kind of like how the mayor here, Ron Nierenberg, said he's going to bring an NFL team to San Antonio.
Right.
It's kind of like the same thing here. She says she wants to put a roof over the stadium before they tear it down because and this plan is a proposed $2.2 billion. And this is, I think, Chicago's attempt to save face before they leave for good for Arlington Heights. That's what I think. So this was so bad that the head of the NFLPA tweeted out his anger towards it. He said, "This is the NFL." He said the NFL said that this field met minimum testing standards. We clearly need to reevaluate what is an acceptable surface for players to compete on. We need new testing metrics looking at the performance and safety of every field. The NFL can and should do better. This looks like garbage. This looks like trash. I don't like the way this looks. And this is damn near dangerous.
You know what it looks like? Well, first of all, we can't blame the mayor, right? Because even if she passed it this season, it wouldn't have been up, right? So even if she got the bill passed, it still wouldn't have been up. But this looks, it's like your dog went and took a dump and then you like went to cover it up or spray paint it. No, this is where puppies pee too much. Like they pee in the same spot all the time and they kill the grass.
That's exactly what it looks like. This looks like terrible. In Chicago, Parks and Recreations, Mayor Lightfoot, you all should be ashamed of yourselves. This is exactly why the McCaskies want to move to Arlington Heights, and you guys are going to lose a lot of money if you guys can't keep up with this crap. This looks terrible. And
so what's worse? That field or the Dallas Cowboys with 230 penalties in their first game?
Okay, so I think you're exaggerating just a little bit. 200. Where you get to? First of all, where the hell you get the number 230 from?
Actually, I think the Chicago players were playing the Dallas Cowboys, and all those are little yellow flags on the ground right there. That's what that looks like. That's how many goddamn
flags they got that day. Yeah.
I didn't know. You know what? Did you hear about the new national bird for the Dallas Cowboys?
What is that? The eagle?
No.
No. What is it?
It's the penalty flag.
That ain't no damn bird.
The Cowboys think it is as much as it's flying in the air.
Oh my God. First of all, this looks terrible. I mean, that's terrible. Not looks terrible. I mean, the Cowboys flags are damn ridiculous. They had 17 flags in the first preseason game. I think mainstream media kind of hyped this up. They were saying that they're done for the season, all this stuff. But I mean, they have facts to back up why they feel like that. In 2021, the Dallas Cowboys led the NFL in penalties. They had 127 accepted penalties, and their 14 of those flags were in their season-ending loss to San Francisco, which was a major factor in why they had a premature exit for that year. So I think this is a coaching problem. I mean, there's been a huge breakdowns on why things happen. I mean, it could be coaching. I mean, it could be players. A lot of them are pre-snap penalties. The Cowboys had 50 pre-snap penalties last year. So those pre-snap penalties, they fall on the players. But what's 127 minus 50? I don't know. What is that, 77?
127
minus 50.
Minus 50, that's 77.
So 77 of those, I think, fall on the coaching staff. I believe that coaching is the primary reason why the Dallas Cowboys have these penalties. I'm going to use my favorite team for an example. Even the Chicago Bears had a penalty problem. Once they switched their regime and got a better coach, they decreased their penalties. So get your damn players in order and tell them to get their pre-snaps right. This just screams that the Dallas Cowboys don't have their team together like the way they need to. But this also shows that there's room to grow. They're not in the first regular season of the game yet. This is the first regular season. You have time to go. You have time to fix this, Dallas Cowboys. And I really hope you do, because I really don't have the time to be talking about how much the Cowboys are trash this season. But even though they won the NFC East last season, even though that particular division right there isn't even the best division in the NFL by any stretch of the imagination, I would hope that I have something good to talk about. One of those things that I want to talk about is the improvement of those penalties. I don't see it happening based on 17 penalties, and then they lost. They lost the preseason game. Now, a lot of people told me, oh, preseason doesn't matter. Yes, the hell it does matter. And let me tell you why preseason matters. Because you have your first string, and then you have your second string. So what happens if the players on your first string get injured? It's the next man up. Now, what happens if you have the next man up and you have these second string players making all these penalties? You're going to have a failing team in case there's injury issues, because your players don't know what the hell they're doing, and all these little critical errors that everybody saw in the preseason, they're going to come to the forefront in the regular season if they don't get corrected. So I don't care what people say in regards to preseason doesn't matter. It absolutely matters. You can tell what the errors are with the team as a totality at the moment. Now, they do have rookies that they cut. There's things that happen. I understand that in the preseason. Not all the people that play in the preseason game are going to be on the team for the regular season. I understand that 100%. But if you're going to be a coach, and if you're going to coach this team, the Dallas Cowboys, to be at the top of the NFC East, you might want to get them to cut down on their goddamn penalties. That's why they're the losers
this week. They can definitely take a L along with Soldier Field as well. So I'm upset about that. And the last person that I think is going to take an L, I'm going to touch base on him really quick. Kenny Golladay from the New York Giants. He had only 1 of 3 targets for 6 yards. 6 yards. That's all he had. And he failed twice to connect on an opening drive, including a 3rd and 6 with New England on the 7-yard line. So that is why, Kenny Golladay, you are also taking the L this time around. Oh, and by the way, guess what division the Giants are in? The same division as the Cowboys. So, I mean, that's going to be I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what to expect. But if I'm going to be talking about the Dallas Cowboys all goddamn season, they need to get it the hell together. So it is what it is. Anthony Gonzalez says their penalties were basura. I totally agree. And Andy Torres says...
basura is trash.
Yeah, right? The penalties were trash. Oh, yeah, basura is trash. Yeah,
right, but
sorry, I forgot.
But are they trash because they were bad calls, or are they trash because the Cowboys just are boo-boo?
I mean, when you get to the number 17, I don't think you can blame the refs at that point. I think maybe if you had a critical, I think if you had maybe if it was like an even amount of penalties on both sides of the teams, right? If you have an even amount, maybe like 10 on one side, 10 on the other side, and then the coach or the refs, this is a critical drive, and the Cowboys have an ability to win the game, and then a ref calls a dumbass flag, then of course you're gonna be like, okay, I think that it was the ref's fault. But in these instances, when the Cowboys have 17 penalties and they end up losing, you really can't blame the refs. You can only, at some point, you got to look in the mirror. At some point, you have to look in the mirror. And that mirror is the trash mirror, the L mirror, the taking an L mirror. They took an L this week.
I hear you.
And I don't want to have them in this category for the rest of the season. So let's get it together, Cowboys.
Now, we go from trash to something you love. And you had to teach me about.
Yeah, so this is the You Go Glen Coco Award of the week. So the You Go Glen Coco Award.
Let's
go Glen Coco. Glen Coco.
Let's see it's playing.
You,
there
Glen
we go.
Coco. You go Glen Coco. Glen.
So this You Go Glen Coco Award goes to, basically, I don't know if you guys see Mean Girls, but You Go Glen Coco is a kudos to you type of situation. So I want to give major props and major kudos to Becky Hammond, the Las Vegas Aces. Unlike the Dallas Cowboys, unlike the Chicago Bears, Becky Hammond and the Las Vegas Aces, you guys have been shining bright like a diamond. I mean, they've been unstoppable, and they have the number 1 seed in the WNBA. And I am so proud of Becky Hammond. She's done an incredible job. There's a great article by Maddie Sky of My SA. And, she, played in the league with the San Antonio Silver Stars. And now she's the head coach for the Las Vegas Aces. She signed the biggest contract for a WNBA coach of all time. I mean, this woman is on fire. And I think a lot of this drive, I don't care what anybody says, I think it has to come from the fact that she could not be a coach in the NBA. There was rumors about her, how she was difficult and to work with, and all these alleged rumors, which I think are unfair, because she was more than qualified to be an NBA head coach. She had several interviews everywhere. Maybe the NBA coaches thought it wasn't her time, but the Spurs respected her gangster, and the Spurs players said she's great at what she does. I thought she'd be the predecessor for Greg Popovich when he left, but we don't know when he's going to leave. A lot of the players don't even know when he's going to leave. But Becky Hammond felt like she had to go elsewhere. She got an offer she couldn't refuse in the WNBA, and look where they're at. They clinched the first seed. I mean, this is not something that you can't just coach a team to the top and clinch the first seed overnight. This comes from your work ethic. This comes from your discipline. This comes from your knowledge. This comes from all the things that she's done, from being an underdog in the WNBA to elevating herself to this point. She is getting the media coverage that she deserves and she needs. And it's not because she is a woman, because a lot of people, especially in sports media, sports
period. They like to say it's because you're a woman that you have this opportunity. Well, what can you say now? Because her numbers back up exactly why she is who she is. She is number one. She went to the WNBA and she's not at the bottom of the barrel. This woman is number one in the WNBA, clinched the number one spot, and she won the Commissioner's Cup over the Chicago Sky. If anything screams, I deserve to be the best, it's Becky Hammon. And I think the NBA, and I'm going to say it again, I've been saying it this entire time, Becky Hammon was overlooked by the NBA. The NBA fumbled the bag with Becky Hammon. The NBA dropped the ball by not having Becky Hammon as an NBA coach. And I'm going to say that, and the record that we see right here for the Las Vegas Aces, that backs it up. And I hope that she sticks it to the NBA by winning a championship. And I think she deserves all the success she has. So the You Go Glen Coco Award of the Week goes to Becky Hammon and the Las Vegas Aces. You guys clinched the first seed. Congratulations, Becky Hammon. You go Glen Coco.
And what I learned from you again, Glen Coco, is you get 4 You Go. Glen,
yeah, 4 for you, Glen Coco. You go, Glen Coco. So shout out to Becky Hammon, our first winner of the You Go, Glen Coco Award. And, you know, Lonnie Longoria, Anthony Gonzalez says she's a fantastic coach. And I agree. It has nothing to do with what's between her legs. It has everything to do with what's up inside her brain. So it is what it is. Finally, I'm going to touch base on this real quick. Fernando Tatis Jr., he comes to San Antonio. I get an interview with him. I ask him questions. He said he planned on going back to the Padres after the and then what happens? He gets popped for PEDs, and he gets suspended. And you know what? This goes back to the bobblehead curse. I mean, everybody says that San Antonio Spurs have a bobblehead curse. Every time the Spurs release a bobblehead, that Spur player leaves. Well, they were going to do a bobblehead night for Fernando Tatis, and he got popped for PED suspensions. I don't know if there's a bobblehead curse or not, but what I do know is that a lot of people have been weighing in and saying that this was stupidity, and, you know, he blamed, I can't remember what he blamed. For it. It was like he had ringworm.
He said he had a ringworm.
Okay, so he had ringworm. He took a medication to get rid of the ringworm. It's called Clostebol. And it's a banned anabolic steroid in the MLB's joint drug agreement. Now, I want to know, does this story add up? I mean, it's just a little bit odd because, first of all, I've had ringworm. When I was a kid, I was running. I was in a race at elementary school. I ran, popped my wrist, had a cast, took a shower, got ringworm. It looks disgusting. And ringworm is not fun, okay? So I understand why he wanted to take the medication and treat it. And now that I know that he had that medication, I mean, it is what it is. So wrap it up. My thoughts on that is that it was stupid. He shouldn't have got popped for PDs. Now he's getting suspended at 80 games, and he should check the medication a little bit closer. So
I kind of think it's funny how many people went out to see him, and I know I talked to you about that, but I love sports figures. They're also not heroes to me, right? Some people that think they're heroes, especially baseball, and it's just kind of disappointing that everybody came out there to see him, and then all of a sudden it's like wah wah wah, you know.
Oh, yeah. It's just a sad day.
Because what separates him from Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, all these other guys, right? He's in that same boat now. So if he goes on to be the greatest, are we going to talk about him with the PEDs?
I mean, they're always going to bring that up. I mean, just like with Canelo, they brought up his, PEDs. It's always going to be brought up no matter what. It's always going to be brought up, and this is just a bump in the road for him. Let's do this or that for 2 takes, and then we'll wrap this up. So what's the first this and that we have?
I don't have one right now because I deleted it.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you have in mind for that?
You're putting me on the spot. spot.
Okay, let's do
now.
this or that. Irv Gotti or Ashanti? Who are you going with?
Shanti all day long.
Why are you taking Ashanti?
Who's Irv Gotti? I mean, no, like really.
Yeah.
Who is he? Look, I came up with rap and hip hop. I respect the game. But the amount of clout we give some of these people, and it's just disrespectful. It's disrespectful for him to come out and, disrespect Ashanti like that.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple.
I agree. I'm this or that. I'm going to go with Ashanti. The second this or that I'm going to go with is, are you team Becky Hammond or are you team NBA right now for how what do you think?
Oh, I'm team Becky Hammond. I think Pop should have left 2 or 3 years ago and turned over the team to Becky. I think that would have been unbelievable, beautiful. That's probably the biggest disappointment that I have as a Spurs fan.
Yeah.
Is that Becky Hammond did not get the head coaching job with the San Antonio Spurs.
I agree. That's
probably my number one disappointment.
I think if I had to pick this or that, I'm going with Coach Becky Hammond too over the NBA because I feel like they dropped the ball with signing her to where she deserved. Anthony Gonzalez says he's rolling with Ashanti on this or that. Now, final this or that, we have Adrien Broner or Gervonta Davis. Do you like that Gervonta Davis said he's a bitch for dropping out for mental health issues? Or are you team Adrien Broner for dropping out for mental health issues?
Gervonta Davis is trash. That's, dudes, people are blowing their head off. People are laid up in bed. And listen, we use the word bitch to describe women. Let's just be real. Men use the word to describe women and to feminize other men, right? That's what we use the word for. So basically what he's saying is he is a girl, he is a woman, he is a bitch. And that's wrong. Why? So you're trying to make him less than by calling him a woman? No.
So you're team Broner then?
Of course.
Team Broner. Okay. I would say, oh man, this is a tough one because some people are saying Broner and some people are saying Tank. I say, when it comes to athleticism, I'm going to go with Tank all day long. Because Tank shows up no matter what, and he keeps himself in elite shape. But when it comes to mental health, awareness, and being vulnerable and letting people know, hey, look, I'm not mentally ready for this, I'm going to go with Adrien Broner. Because
Pick a side.
I can't. Not this time,
Pick
man.
a side.
Okay.
I like Tank.
Okay,
it's not that I don't like Tank. I just don't like his take.
I know. Okay, so so when we pick, this is the toughest one for me because if we pick this or that between Gervonta and Adrien, is it based off of their athleticism skill or based off the mental health comments?
Well, it's a this or that, so it's the whole person.
It's the whole person.
It's the whole person.
Okay, well, Adrien Broner's kind of mean too, though. I mean, he's had his moments too where he's really, really ugly and really, really mean.
This is why I'm picking Adrien.
Okay.
You say I have something wrong with me. And then somebody's calling you a little bitch. End of story. That's why I'm picking him.
Okay.
Because the rhetoric on the other side doesn't match. I just think that real humans, and let's say real men, should be like, okay, all right, bro, no big deal. But it's a head game.
If I'm going with mental health, I'm going to go with Adrien Broner. Because I don't like I feel like the comments of calling somebody a bitch, and you don't know what Adrien Broner's going through. I think that,
end of story.
Yeah,
period.
That is insensitive, and that's why with that I'm gonna go with Adrien Broner. That was a tough one. That's probably the hardest this or that I've had.
Well, you made them up.
I know because I want to make it complicated for myself.
Can you see the TV in the other room?
No, but I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up.
You can't?
I'm gonna wrap this up. Oh, okay, I can now.
Oh, so you didn't read?
I didn't read what you were saying. But I want to thank everybody for watching episode. One last comment from Anthony Torres or Andy Torres. He said many athletes and people are basing stuff on mental health instead of wanting to do the work and show up, tank all day. And Lonnie says, as much as I like this Broner, I applaud him for coming out and saying something's wrong with him. And Lamont Roberts says, being called a bitch doesn't necessarily mean that you're a female. It can take, that's true. I did an essay on the word bitch, and it can be used in a multitude of ways. And I got to share it with y'all. But
generally, in the culture of the United States, when a man calls another dude a bitch,
he was trying to feminize him in that term.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Right. But when I'm with my homegirls and I'm like, bitch,
sure, of course,
yeah, I'm having a good time. Yeah,
of course.
So it could be used but in this particular instance, he was being disrespectful.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Anthony Gonzalez is Team Tank, and they say you get the help that you need. So I mean, hope Adrien Broner gets the help that he needs. Shout out to him. Thank you guys all for watching. This is episode 4 of League of Our Own, and we'll be back same time, same place next Wednesday. If you have any topics you want us to talk about, we're gonna also have this on Spotify and Apple soon. So in case you missed it, keep in touch with us, and we'll be back. It's me and Guyland. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.